Ohio. Haifa, the third largest city of Israel, with the mixed Jewish-Arab population. The capital of the Haifa district is considered the capital of the north and its largest city center. Haifa is the important transport, industrial and cultural center influencing all state of Israel and one of the shopping centers of Israel. From the very first days it was the seaport. Even in the old years, one of symbols of the city is the port of Haifa, which is one of two largest trade ports of Israel. Haifa lies on Mount Carmel slopes. There is the World Center of Abakha. It is the UNESCO World Heritage Site and a place for pilgrims of Abakha. The population minus 283,640 people. 2018. According to one of versions, the name of the city comes from the words, to Jaffa, the beautiful coast. Crusaders connected the name of the city with a name of the high priest Caiaphas at which Jesus Christ was crucified. According to one more version, this name came from the Aramaic word of half, coast. Aramaic language was widespread in this region earlier. There is also a version origins of the name of the city from the root hap, to cover. The mountain Carmel covers the harbor of Haifa from winds from the south and east, and her spur serves as natural protection of the Gulf against the western winds and against frequent winter storm in this part of the Mediterranean Sea. Considering that in the ancient time Haifa was the small port settlement located approximately where now there is a district of Haifa Bat Galim, the name, Haifa, can be translated as, the safe, covered harbor. Haifa is founded during the Roman era. At the time of the Talmud, the 3-5 century AD. On the place of Haifa there was a prospering Jewish settlement. At the time of Crusaders, the 11th century, it was the settlement quite large for those times and considerable Mediterranean port. The Carmelite order was based on Mount Carmel. Since the end of the 1880th years, Haifa becomes the large seaport, the main sea gate of Palestine. In the 1930th years, Haifa was the center of illegal immigration in Eretz Israel. Most of illegal Jewish repatriates, including refugees of Nazi Germany, arrived in Palestine through the Haifa port. By 1944, Jews made most of the population of Haifa, totaling at the time 128,000 people. Haifa has the special topographical building. The lower city and port represent business and office center. The middle part of the city, Adar Ha-Carmel, is the shopping area of Haifa. At tops of Mount Carmel, the centers of entertainments and purchases and also prestigious residential areas and hotels are located. The seaside strip includes the biggest port of Israel and beaches. Haifa is famous for the atmosphere of friendliness and tolerance, religious and national. There is the main temple of religion of Bekkei, which gold dome became the hallmark of the city. Nevertheless, the Jewish-Arab conflict affected also Haifa. His most bloody manifestations became a slaughter at the Haifa oil refining plant and the attack of Haganah on the Arab village of Baalad esh-Sheikh which followed it. Long time the city developed as a port appendage of Acre and gradually turned into the central sea gate of the country and large knot of the railroads. The main attraction of the city, Bible Mount Carmel. Vineyard the Gods, 546 m. on which there lived Eli's prophet and which is considered Carmelite order homeland. Today the mountain is occupied with city quarters and covered with numerous gardens and parks, among which observation decks and the well-known monasteries, the Catholic monastery of Carmelites. The 13th century. The big synagogue of Haifa on Gertzel Street. Eli prophets gave, and the temple bouquet topped with a gold dome with his well-known Persian gardens, and a tomb of the founder of this religious trend, the woman of picturesquely scattered. On the Cape of Carmel, the extensive zone of archaeological excavations Tel Shikmona was stretched. The hilly sycamore. Very interesting also the building of the monastery of Carmelite Stella Maris, a star of the seas. The building of the Museum of Science and Technology, the historical building of Technion. 1912, the architect A. Berwald. Picturesque region of Moshava Germanate, German colony. Suburban Druze villages of Asfia and Daliat of Al Carmel. Gun and M. Mother's Garden. With located in his territory the Museum of Ancient History and a zoo. Complex of the City Museum of Haifa. Museum of the Artist Tumani Katz. Museum of Illegal Immigration. National Maritime Museum. Museum of Music. The Museum of the Japanese Folk Art with real rock garden in the Japanese style. A garden of sculptures in Boulevard Sinizma. Quarter of Kababir in which there live followers of Muslim sect of Ahmadiyya. Ahmadite. The extensive reserve Ha Carmel adjoining a campus of the University of Haifa is considered one of the biggest and beautiful parks of Israel. In spurs of a ridge of Carmel, in 25 came to the south from Haifa, the magnificent memorable park surrounding a tomb of the Baron Edmund Rothschild and his wife Liz. In Haifa there is an only line of the Carmelite subway funicular in Israel. 6 stops. Connecting the lower and top city, time and way, about 8 minutes, on the line 2 trains ply. According to the Central Statistical Bureau of Israel, the population for the beginning of 2020 made 285,316 people. 82% are made by Jews. Of them 1/3 from the former Usser. Other Arabs. Generally Christians. And Druzes. Haifa, the only city of Israel where the subway works. He represents the underground funicular, Carmelite is called. Lines of bus traffic work in the city. On August 16, 2013, the Haifa Municipal Company, Yefanov, put into operation the transport system of Metronet, representing 16-meter buses moving on physically isolated allocated strips. By 2025, start of the tram train system connecting Haifa to Nazareth is planned. In Haifa, the Haifa airport serving local and international short-range flights is located. Haifa is connected with the center of the country, the railroad Nahariya, Haifa, Tel Aviv, the airport of Ben Gurion, Beersheba. Education. In Haifa 2 large universities and several colleges are located. The Haifa University, founded in 1963, is at Mount Carmel top. The campus was designed by the architect of Brasilia and the Central Institutions Union in New York, Oscar Niemeyer. From the top floor of a 30-story tower, the Eshkol opens a panoramic view of the north of Israel. The Museum Hector, with important collections of archaeology and art, is in the campus of the University of Haifa. Technion, the Israel Institute of Technology, nicknamed the Israeli MT, was founded in 1912. He has 18 faculties and 42 research institutes. In the original building there is a Museum of Science of Haifa now. The Jewish school, really, was founded in 1913. It is the biggest school of the K-12 format in Israel, at which 400 pupils in 7 branches on all city study. The first technological high school in Israel, Bosnat, was founded in Haifa in 1933. Other academic institutes in Haifa are the Gordonsky Teacher Training College and Shanansky Religious Teacher Training College, the Haifa Academy of Design and Education Wizo, and Tiltansky Art Center College of Design. The College of Management, Miklala Leminkel, and the Open University of Israel have branches in Haifa. In the city there is also a College of Nurses and Practical Engineering School. As of 2006-2007 in Haifa there were 70 elementary schools, 23 high schools, 28 academic higher schools and 8 vocational higher schools. In municipal kindergartens there were pupils, at elementary schools minus, at high schools minus 7911, at the academic high schools minus, at high vocational schools minus 2646, and at high comprehensive schools minus 2068 people. 86% of pupils attended Hebrew-speaking schools and 14% attended the Arab schools. 5% were on vocational education. In 2004 in Haifa there were 16 municipal libraries in which there were 367,323 books. 2 prestigious Arab schools in Haifa are an Orthodox school which is managed by a Greek Orthodox Church, and School of the Nazareth Nuns, Catholic Institute. Since 1983 every fall in the Haifa Cinematheque and other halls of the city there takes place the International Haifa Film Festival. Since 2007 in Haifa there takes place the annual Summer of the Israeli Movies Film Festival on Adar, and since 2010 the annual Kino Film Festival. In Haifa there is the Haifa City Theatre. Haifa, one of the world centers of a psytrance. There was an infected mushroom group. From Haifa Dobrafest participants of 2017 of Useless Daho. Emigrants of Odessa formed Russian-speaking rap group O4 unit here. In the city the Sami Ofer Stadium opened in 2014 and accommodating viewers is located. Official A match at the stadium. The national team of Israel in soccer carried out the first on November 16, 2014. To Haifa Football Club Maccabi, Haifa, and Hapoel Haifa play in the Israeli Premier League. In the city the Romima Sports Palace, which underwent reconstruction in 2012 and accommodating 5,000 viewers, is located. In Roman the Maccabi Basketball Club Haifa plays the matches. Mediterranean climate. The massif of Carmel together with the sea is protected in the winter from cooling by the districts of Haifa located at the foot of Mount Carmel. At this time the areas located on the mountain suffer from the strong winds aggravating cold in the winter and facilitating a heat in the summer. Rainfall drops out generally from November to April. Besides, mountains complicate distribution of sea air masses to the east, therefore in Haifa high relative air humidity almost all the year round, except days when Hamsina winds blow. Districts of Haifa: Adar, Akuza, Bat Galim, Dania, Hababir, Carmel, Kiryat Eliezer, Moshava Germanit, Nev Shonan, Lower City, Ramima, Hofshikmona. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.